Okay, so I just wanted to quickly follow up with the I just wanted to quickly follow up with the what's it called? The last post I just did about the issue of Harry ever being or ever possibly being King of England. And as I noted in that particular video, is that it is highly, highly unlikely that Harry will ever be king, but it's not impossible if William were to, for example, abdicate the throne for any reason, and if his three children are under the age of 18. And it turns out that I am 100% correct, and I just wanted to just brag about that a little bit because I subsequently, after I finished that video, I quickly checked on YouTube, on our Wikipedia, the Regency Act for the UK. Well, I'm assuming this is for the UK. Actually, this could be. Yes, I'm sure. Yeah, Winston Churchill. It was introduced by Winston Churchill. Okay, so it's very recent. It got royal assent in. It got royal assent in, what is this saying here? Royal assent 1943. Regency Act 1953. Okay, so let's assume it's about more like 1953. It's very recent. And let me tell you something else about to all these people in England who and around the world who seem to think that the British monarchy and William is and his three children are, an absolute certainty as the next monarch. I don't think that that's true. I don't think it's necessarily true, right? I think that just like they created this Regency Act in the 1950s, that can easily be changed. Easily be changed. And to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, when you consider, I think when in Churchill's time, an 18-year-old was probably a lot more mature because he or she was at a different percentage of his or her life between birth and death. People had shorter lifespans. So someone who is 30, someone who was 30 in 1953, today that person is more like 15. In other words, we have gotten younger and older at the same time, right? So we are much younger than, someone who was our age 40 years ago, but we also live a lot longer. So, an 18-year-old in 1953 was an adult. This person was almost midlife. You figure people were living till 60. Okay, midlife would be 30. So, 18 is, okay, it's not exactly midlife, but it's like you're getting up there. You're not a baby. You can be a parent. You can do this, you can do that, right? So you can be king. But I wonder whether that even should continue to be the law. Would you really contemplate today, if God forbid something should happen to William, to allow an 18-year-old to be the head of state of the United Kingdom? Is preposterous. It's totally, 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 totally preposterous. As far as I'm concerned, no one should be a monarch. If you have to have a monarch in the first place, because I'm not a monarchist, I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm going to avoid sitting here and say abolish the monarchy, right? That's not my business. I'm not English. I don't have a right to say that, and I try to avoid saying that. But I think I can say, as an individual in the world, that look, I'm not into it. It doesn't track for me, this idea of monarchy and kings and queens and stuff like that. It exists, and so okay, no problem. You say you're King Charles, you're King Charles. You're Queen Camilla, you're Queen Camilla. You're the Duke and Duchess of this and the Duke and Duchess of that. Okay, I give it to you, right? I give it to you because that's what you say. But it's not like I agree with it. And the thing is that the way I feel about, for example, with Meghan and Harry is that if that's the protocol in the world in which they are, they should be given their titles, right? It's not like I'm not a title obsessed person just for the sake of it. I'm all about equality and everybody being treated the same according to the protocol. But I mean, back to this regency thing that I discussed in the previous video, where I said that if for some reason William abdicates and his children are not yet at the age of majority or 18 years old, when he abdicates, Harry would be the next king, and that could easily happen. But now I'm saying, look, I mean, why do we even have a Regency Act of 1953 that allows an 18-year-old to be a monarch? Regency Act 1950. In 1952, King George VI died and was succeeded by his elder daughter, Queen Elizabeth II. With her eldest son and heir apparent, King Charles, under the age of 21, the Regency Act 1937 would provide for the next person over the age of 21 in the line of succession, the Queen's sister, Princess Margaret, to act as regent. However, although a regency was already provided for, Parliament made a new law creating a provision specific to the scenario of the succession to the throne of a son or daughter of Queen Elizabeth II and her husband, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, while still under the age of 18 years. Oh, wow. So they changed the law to avoid a situation where Margaret would trump Charles. You see that? And they continue to do that. Whenever they have laws that don't support their position, they change the law. So in this case, with Harry and let's say William were to abdicate, in fact, I think it's more likely that they would change the Regency Act to say that a child of any age, even if that child is 5 years old, can be the next monarch, versus putting it to a child of 20, 25. But I think under normal circumstances, in my view, in my opinion, I think an 18-year-old monarch or even a 21-year-old monarch is irresponsible. I think it should be 25, maybe even 30 years old before someone should be entrusted to be the head of state. I mean, if you are serious, I mean, if you're not a third world, fiefdom where just, all kinds of craziness go on, and you're a serious country, a first world country, and, this is your head of state and it's 18 years old. I mean, this scenario is unlikely to happen, but it's possible to happen, which is why they have a Regency Act. I don't think this makes any darn sense in 2023. I think they should push that back to about 25, best case scenario, 30, and so the Regency Act of 1953, in my opinion, should be amended. Your thoughts?